hearing voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. All right. Here we go again. Good morning, Champaign, Illinois. Champaign, Urbana, good morning. The United States of America. Good morning. Good afternoon, South Africa. Good afternoon. Give people time to join in. This is Real Talk USA, where we talk real. We talk real facts. We talk real information. We're a balanced program. Yes. I invite God into my program. I invite him in. God, I'm inviting you, God. I'm inviting you. I'm inviting you this morning on my side, afternoon on South Africa side. I got to invite him in. I can't do anything without him. I won't do anything without him. See, I won't do anything without him. Nothing. But I got a guest on, a special guest, really good friend of mine. I call her my sponsor. I call her my sponsor. Yes. Her name is Lisa Strom. Miss Lisa Strom. There's my notification. Yeah, she's a very dear friend of mine. I'm so glad she's in my life. I tell you, I'm so glad this lady's in my life. We laugh and talk. I'm me. She's her. I'm black. She's white. You know, we don't let that cause a barrier in our relationship. I don't have to change for her. She don't have to change for me. We just real, you know. I love her dearly. I tell you, I love her. She's special to me. Yeah, she's very special. She's very special. And she agreed. I asked her to come on and talk and share some things. We had to share some things. I met her. I've been knowing her for about about 3 years now. I met her in my transition in life. You know, I was coming from jail into a treatment center, and she was a tech in a treatment center, like a counselor or someone along the lines. She counsels. I mean, those techs, those people that work alongside of the people that are going through drug addictive behaviors, like alcohol, cocaine, heroin, all those drugs, marijuana, whatever they're in there for, she's there. She's there to assist. That's the work that she did. And I happened to meet her. And I'm going to bring her on. I tell you, she's a special lady, not only to me, but she's a special to the community in a whole. I'm unveiling her, not only to her, to the community, but to the community that are a part of the Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholic Anonymous. She's going to explain that program. Lots of people know her. I'm going to bring her on right now.
Hey, good morning. You about had me in tears.
There's my friend, Miss Lisa Strom.
You about had me in tears.
Oh, really? Oh, I did. It's the truth. I speak truth on this program, and it's the truth. I met her. I'm gonna tell her why she's right there in my face. I met her, and I heard about her as I became a part of the program, right? And the name of the facility, Rosecrans, which is a treatment facility, and she worked there. And I saw her gracefully walk through the building, and I really hadn't met her or anything, but I had heard about her before I even met her. And her name, she has a nickname called Mona Lisa. That's what they call her.
No, that's what you call me. That's what you call me. They call me Mama Lisa.
Mama Lisa. Oh, that's Mama Lisa. I call her Mona. Somebody said Mona Lisa.
You always have.
Oh, it's Mama.
Uh-huh.
So all this time I'm thinking it's Mona and it's Mama. Somebody had it all twisted in the treatment center. But I tell you,
Because we were all twisted.
yeah, we were definitely. But I tell you, she's worked her program and God has blessed her and He's restoring her. She's in recovery because when you go through your process in addiction, you are in a program, in a recovery program, and you're recovering the things you lost, the things that were taken from you, and the things that you gave away along the way. So we're in recovery, and I'm also a part of that program. You know, work my steps, and I have accepted her. After I asked her, I said, I want you to be my sponsor because she's going to explain the program to you. Okay, she's my sponsor. But this is Miss Lisa Strom. And Lisa, I want you to go, how you feel, spiritually led to go.
Okay.
I respect her. She respects my views on things. And I tell you, we get along great. She's matter of fact, she's my boxing partner. Right?
Got me started in it.
Yes, yes. So tell us about you.
I'm 60 years old. I had gotten addicted to pain pills, opiates, from a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 85. I did drink before then a lot. I had lost a baby and didn't know how to mourn it. And my husband stepped out on me. That's when I found comfort in the pain pill. Like, I was taking it the way I was supposed to, and then adding one each every once in a while. I always felt guilt because I didn't think my trauma was as bad as some of the girls that I deal with. But it doesn't have to be a big trauma to cause you anguish. It could be as simple as a pig.
We're gonna get to that.
I lost my father when I was 18 months old on Father's Day, and I think that was a big impact on my life too.
Yeah.
Because when I decided to get clean, it was his death date on Father's Day, and I was in a treatment center, and they read the death, and I know he came down and told me to step up, get right, and do better. He tell me I'm better than what I was behaving. But from there, I used opiates I was productive. I worked 3 jobs, but I used opiates from 1985, and then I found out it makes you sick when you stop in 2010.
Can I ask you a question? So, what you're saying, you was a functioning
Absolutely
addict.
I never missed a kid's thing. I now had I because I jumped into heroin because it was cheaper. And I have to admit, it made me feel comfort. I had, in my addiction, I had been abused by somebody close to me and sexually. And when I did it, I did a spentail, and my kids went off to school, college, moved out. Like, I had a great relationship with my children until heroin hit. I started heroin, and I've lost houses, cars, my 401k, everything. I came to Champaign kicking and screaming, to be honest, and with one backpack. Now, if y'all could see my little apartment, you would say she's grown. But,
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Was your 401k, did it have a lot of money in it?
Well, I could have retired 2 years ago because I had been at my job 20 years.
So you had a lot of money.
Yes. But today that don't really matter to me, other than when I retire. I could retire in 2 years because of my age. But to be honest, all that took me to where I am today. And I'm so grateful I stay humble. I don't live out of my means. If I can't pay for it in cash, I don't do it. My glory is to spend time in the community helping people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes me feel good. That's when I'm working in recovery, that's what I enjoy. And
Now, mhm.
so at 55 years old, I finally found the job I needed to be doing all my life, because they say if you love your job, you don't work a day in your life. And I loved going there. I didn't mind.
Now you talked about you shared just a little bit about, you said you took comfort in the pain pills. I know what you're talking about because that's where my addiction really started. I used marijuana, but it really started with the pain pills. So talk about how the trauma, the comfort you found. What kind of trauma caused you to find that comfort in pain medicine or in heroin? What kind of trauma did you
It
go
all
through?
started with the loss of that baby and my husband
Mm,
stepping out with a friend of ours. And like since then, we all become one big family because we have siblings together and they want to be together peacefully.
yeah.
But different aspects like being abused. My relationships with men were terrible on my part because
Mhm.
you know, through the process of recovery, I realized that I like to get them, but then I don't want them. So to stay in a committed relationship for a long time, and I do believe that we think our picker's broken sometimes in a
Mhm.
relationship, men or women, and we pick the wrong people, but it's not. It's because we don't love ourselves to pick the right people. And if you don't have self love and you have that inner self esteem, you are not going to be happy in any relationship. It doesn't matter. And so then I was in a relationship with a younger young man, and
Mhm.
he developed leukemia and died, and I was really getting out of control at that point, and I wasn't there. I feel, and then my
Mhm.
best friend died without me due to an accidental overdose, and so I was in a tailspin, and that's when heroin took over. I moved in the wrong type of boyfriend. The police raided my house, which in my community, I was an activity director, med team leader for developmentally disabled. So I knew a lot of people in my
Mhm.
community and they knew me. I couldn't go anywhere without anybody knowing me. And the fact that they
Right.
raided my house, I just figured this out talking about it. That's what recovery's about. Like, it didn't dawn on me till now. Like, that was the real tailspin of my addiction when I was humiliated by that
So can
at
you
my own fault.
explain? Can you explain what a raid is?
A
Explain to
raid
somebody
is
who don't know.
when like my house had, I worked 3 jobs, so I was barely home, and my boyfriend and his friend were cooking meth in my house. The police knew when I was coming home because
Mhm.
they would clear everything out and try to air it out. And I was a little naive about hard drugs back then, and it and they came in and the DEA came in and raided my house.
So what they do, they come in, they knock your door in.
Right.
They
Well,
what a did they do
I
that
let
to
him
you?
in. I
Oh, you
opened
let them in?
because I had no choice at the time, and I didn't really know any better. But they
Mhm.
had surveilled my house for 3 months, so they knew I wasn't partaking in that. Except for I did buy sinus medicines, and so that red flagged me to where I can't
My.
buy them now. But
Mhm.
that's the least of my worries, really. you know.
Right.
But
So, mhm.
by the grace of God, I tried to get clean right after that, but relationships are
Mm,
an addiction as well.
definitely.
And I was so addicted to this man. and I still continued. Then I started trying meth, and then
Mhm.
when you do heroin and meth, you speedball, and I was really out of control. I lost. I finally got an apartment for like $200 a month, and I lost that. I couldn't even keep
Really?
that up.
Mhm.
So I got arrested,
Mhm.
and I went to treatment. And after I got arrested, I OD'd, and then I OD'd again. But the second time, I died when they finally brought me back, because they were going to call it, and they did Narcan. I'm a big believer in Narcan, and that brings you back from an opiate
Right.
overdose.
Overdose.
Yeah, and I carried it in my car if anybody needs it. So, um, so I still
Mhm.
didn't get it. I went to treatment. I was doing good, and I was just at a place where I was living in my daughter's beautiful basement, actually, and
Mhm.
and grateful for that. But I still was very unhappy because I knew I was in a place I didn't want to be. And and then it really got bad. I did things that I'm ashamed of, like like boosting from stores or selling it. I never boosted it, but I sold it, and that would be $1,000 a day at times, 7 days a week for about 3 months.
And
And
just for somebody that don't know, boosting
oh
is
yeah,
when you steal.
right.
Just using another term. And OD, you overdose. You know,
Oh,
so
I
that
should
you all
explain that.
know. No, that's
Yeah,
okay. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm
but
here for.
you
Mhm.
know, I so what I tried to make amends, or pay back. I was in a ring with a couple other people, so
Mhm.
I can't pay that much amount back. But not working in treatment programs, but I try to for the ones that come in with nothing, because I know, because I did. I try to help out and donate whenever I can, because my heart has to pay it back. Because that was not me. You do things that, like, I was known as a good girl, like, until I was probably 50. That's when I started to
Mhm.
fall. And everybody respected me, everybody trusted me. Like,
Yeah.
I had keys to everybody's house because I would go either let their dog out, or
Mhm.
help them in some way. And then all that stopped because I couldn't be trusted.
I know you spoke about, because we're friends.
Hmm.
I know we've talked, and I've shared with you, being my sponsor. I've shared with you, my childhood traumas, and how my mother and my father would, there was abusive things going on in their relationship. My dad was an abuser, and how my mother would take us. I was a young girl, but I loved animals. And how when we would have to leave home and go somewhere, to leave because of the trauma and the abuse, that I would leave animals behind. My animals would be taken, by animal shelter, or the animal would get sick and I couldn't take it to the vet and the animal would die. I would see this, and it was traumatizing to see an animal die. And you share with me about some things that have happened to you. Would you
About my
mind sharing?
pig, about my
Yeah,
pig.
about a yeah, that was just touching to me. I want you to share concerning that.
Okay, so my mom had 5 kids to raise, and I come from a very loving, close knit, strong family. And because we were all we had, it was my mother and my other 4 siblings. So I, my sister-in-law's dad had gotten me a
Mhm.
pig from Missouri, and that's when Momo the monster was coming out. So that's what his name was, Momo. I would sit out in his pen, do homework. When he got too big for the house, I'd sit out there, do my homework with it and everything. Well, it was getting way too big, and
Big.
one time my mom, she was the house mother, for like parties. And
Uh-huh.
she come and my mom was always, her hair was perfect, her makeup and everything. And she
Really?
come in a disarray. And I knew right then, I was in the third grade. My mom
Uh-huh.
had to chase that pig.
Uh-huh.
And so we talked about it and we said it would go to Kentucky and I would go visit it. Well, one time I told my mother, I said, I we need to take a trip to Kentucky and go see Momo.
Yeah.
And
Your pig.
she had a look on her face. She goes, that pork you really liked? I said, yeah. And she said, that was Momo. At that time, I mean, it was devastating, but I understood because it fed us for a whole winter. So, so in my mind, it was like a contribution. But as I got older, or well, actually, my sponsor, which was my counselor in treatment, she would she got it out that maybe that was a little bit of traumatic for me at that age.
Uh,
But I also understood we all had to pitch in, we all had to do what we needed to do. We had a big garden. That's how we survived.
but
And
how old were you when this pig, you
I was in
ate
the
your
third
pet pig?
grade. I was
mean,
whatever. So I guess
you
that's
you
about.
can't be contributing at that age. I mean, that's kind of like that's a thought, but it's like it's
But
not working. You know, or can't work a job to contribute, so it's kind of like
but that
uh,
was about 50 years ago, and then I knew that our family needed to eat as well, so I
you put
didn't.
it in that compartment. Okay, I got
Right, and then, but at that point in time, that day we were having pork, and it kind of freaked me out a
you.
little bit.
That
But
would have
it
devastated me.
wasn't my pig. It was had already been gone, but it was
You
very
ate your
tasty.
pig.
Huh?
You ate your pig. You said
Uh,
that meat was good too.
yeah, it was because it was well fed. It wasn't like the stuff you get now. But
Right.
it was an
Uh-huh.
understand. I couldn't
Yeah.
get mad because my family survived
Had
off
to
that
eat.
pig. So
And that's understandable.
yeah.
Yeah, that's understandable. But I just
We
thought
were
about
just
that.
taught
Hmm.
we had to take care of each other and we had to
Yeah.
help mom. There's a whole week we had to do like canning and getting all the food
Mhm.
off of the vines for a lot of canning.
Right.
Well, I rode motorcycles. I wasn't even allowed to ride my motorcycle, so all that was done.
Really?
So
So at least you had a motorcycle, huh? Something to do
I
back
was a
then.
baby, so I was spoiled.
You were spoiled.
Yeah, I honestly say I was spoiled.
Yeah. So you spoke about because I'm walking it down. So that was in third grade. So could you share any other things, because this is kind of like I'm getting to the point of it being a snowball effect. How things
Yeah,
just snowballed into this big giant creation where you just you know
I
uh,
was
life
al-
changed.
I was also overweight, and but I was tall. I was just a big girl, and all the other little ones, and my breasts were huge in third grade. It's like when it
Mm.
and
You really
my very first day of school, I got a spanking. I was 5 years old, never been babysat, and I
Mhm.
still like think back to that time because I think my schooling would have been a much better had I not started out so bad. I
Mhm.
saw my sister across the schoolyard and I ran to her and I got in trouble and a spanking. And I had not been around people like that. And I had not, like, the only person that babysat me was family. And so I was 5 years old and it just set my whole school year off, the whole time
Yeah.
off. I had graduated, went to college, some college, but
Mhm.
But is how you start out is how you're gonna finish for the most part. I feel, but so I was bullied some, and until I got to high school, so I made it a mission. Whoever bullies anybody, they're gonna get bullied by me, only for the fact they're not going to pick on people. I always went for the underdog all my life. Even now when I'm in worked with treatment, I like them right from the beginning because I love to see them flower. I like the ones that everybody bets against, and
Mm,
because that's beautiful to see them, because I know that they can do it, and
mm,
so I would like I was friends with all types, the popular girls,
mm.
the
Yeah. Not so popular, huh?
yeah, and the drugs. I hung out with all guys because I rode motorcycles and nobody else did.
Sound
So
like a tomboy to me.
I was. We lived by this coal mine. Why I don't have black lung, I don't know. We lived by a
Mhm.
coal mine, and that's where I rode all the time and raced.
So
So
you talked about how things had the things that you had gone through,
yeah,
um, and then the baby. It's kind of like
when I got pregnant, from my high school sweetheart. Um, but I still went to school, and it was really frowned upon then. But I finished school. I went to night school, did
Mhm.
wonderful there. Actually, I was going to night school and college at the same time, and but and then I married him. So I married my high school sweetheart. So I feel like the start of that baby, losing that baby, and not getting the comfort I needed was
Yeah.
really rough. I feel that was my addiction. But
Yeah.
then, life goes on. I ended up 11 years later pregnant again, but this time it was from with an African American man. And back
Oh.
then, people really looked down on you. And
Mm.
I was pregnant with twins, and they took one. Um, they said it was in my tubes, but they did a DNC, and this baby stayed, my little miracle baby.
Mhm.
And I was scared, my because I dated this man for quite a while and nobody knew it. And because I like to keep my men secret all the time. I don't know what that is.
Keep a secret.
I do. I like to keep. It's like I like to keep him to myself. Well, I kept him a secret because of the situation, but like my mother did not know that I was going to have a mixed baby until I was 7 months pregnant.
So you tell me, you this white woman about to have this mixed baby.
And I was
So what
stressed.
happened with that?
Well, I was stressed because of all that, and so I didn't gain nothing but baby weight. When I gained 52 pounds, the other baby, and because I didn't know how this world was going to take on this mixed baby, and or how if I'm going to be okay with it. You just wonder, and stupid things like, well, am I going to remember both kids' birthday? Oh yeah, I remember their birth and everything. I remember the time they were born. But it's just stupid things that I thought of. And then I had a lot of. I wasn't using a whole when I was pregnant. I didn't use, but I had a lot of pain medicine because I didn't know I was pregnant because they did the DNC.
And
And
DNC is when they clean your uterus out, and
so,
so happened that baby stayed. One baby was removed because you didn't know you were pregnant,
right,
and one baby stayed. That's
correct.
what you were saying. Uh-huh.
And so, but when she was born, she was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Like
Mhm.
she came out with long hair. They braided her hair. The nurses
What?
every
That
time the baby,
long?
the first thing the doctor said is, "Oh man, she's got a lot of hair."
Really?
Yeah, beautiful. And as far as my family, they stayed true to our strong family,
Mhm.
and they love. Oh my gosh,
They
they
love that baby.
love that baby. My mom said I had that baby for her.
Oh.
But all the things you stress about, it's like
Mhm.
it's so silly sometimes, you know. It
And
all
they didn't ostracize you. There's families that ostracize, disown
yes.
their loved ones, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? They will disown.
But
Doing good.
my
Yeah.
brother taught her how to hunt. She got her first deer like when she was 11 years old, and it was a
Mhm.
9 point buck. So she, my family is just every single one of them. Maybe not so much on my dad's side, but we're not around them so much. But on their side, my side, they just open their arms and not let go.
Mhm. So, how many children do you have?
I have two, and then I lost the two males. I always wanted a boy, but my family can't carry him.
Mm. You,
So
yeah,
at
you
least my
should.
generation, the next generation did.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. How long were you addicted to drugs? How long were you addicted?
38 years.
38 years. And during that time, during that 38 years, you had your children. So who would help care for your children while you were, going? Were you able to? I heard you say something about you were able to maintain to a
My
certain
family,
degree.
my family,
Your
they
family.
helped me. Yes. Um, I lived with my mother, and then I bought a home and brought her with me. Her health was real bad. She stayed with me
Mhm.
until she passed.
Did she
And
pass away?
so, and then when she passed, I kind of like each like, because I took a lot of psychology because I was going to be an art psychologist. So
Hmm.
I always analyzed myself and then tucked it away and moved on and just dealt with life. But I didn't deal with life. I took pills instead
Hmm.
because I could take 10, the highest number of hydrocodone, Vicodin, for I could take 10 of them 3 times a day. That's what I was taking when I moved on to heroin. That's a lot.
That's
That would
familiar.
yeah, that would put it, most people under.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to take large numbers, so I know exactly what you're saying.
What
Yeah.
people don't realize in addiction though, when you take pain pills, you get a tooth pulled, they'll give you 30 pain pills. You say you have a dry socket, they'll give you another prescription. 21
Mm-hmm.
days is a habit. 30 days you're going to have a small withdrawal. 60
Yeah.
days you're going to want more. And it starts out so innocent.
Mhm. Tell me about the Narcotics Anonymous. Can you share a little bit about that program and the 12 steps?
At first, I
Tell
thought
me-
it was a cult. I said they brought me down here and put me in a cult because it just didn't seem so real. And then they had these readings, and I thought this is just monotonous
Mhm.
until I started. I have one tattooed right here. I don't know if you can see it. That's
I can
easy.
see it.
Easy does it. And then this is breaking the chains of. Oh wait, I can't. Breaking the chains of addiction. Uh,
Right. And just real quick, this just so that people would know that this is a program that helps people with addictions. And after you go through treatment, when you go through treatment, you get connected with the program and the people in this program, and it helps you. Okay, go ahead, Lisa. I want you to
and
go ahead.
those that feel they don't need the meetings, you have meetings like Champaign is a very good recovering community. I feel you have to leave your people,
Hmm.
places, and things,
Right.
and it's the only place that I know that you go in with your head down, feeling of shame and hurt, and
That's
somebody
right.
will hug you and love you
Hmm.
until you love yourself and that shame is lifted some. And the only way that you can continue to be sober is to work the first, well, first you have to surrender,
That's
to,
the first, right?
yeah, and find a higher power. And it's 1 through 12,
Mhm.
and you need to work these steps in order to maintain. Because if you don't fix
Mhm.
what cuts you, you're going to continue to bleed. And if you don't
Mm.
have that recovery community to reach out to,
Mm.
and there's people that'll lack on their meetings and stuff, and I'll say, how's that working out for you? Because they end up relapsing. A lot of time, most of the times, when people stop going to meetings, that's when they relapse. And and judgment. There's no judgment because we know we've all been there. So when somebody does relapse, they would walk in with their head down and stuff, and let's say, get over here, and because when they'd come back through treatment, and I'd give them
Uh-huh.
all a big old hug, but they expected me to be mad at them. I'm not. I am just so grateful they made it back alive.
Right. And would you agree with me that Champaign-Urbana here in Illinois is a recovery community?
Oh, absolutely. Because I wouldn't. I don't think I know. I tried getting clean back home. I couldn't. Uh,
Right.
and
Hmm.
it embraced me. Like everything I do and everything I calculate through the day, it's through that in a way
Hmm.
because I can't live my life without it. And the people are such great families. They become family to you. And when one's hurting or we can't find somebody, we're going to go find them. I'll hunt you down. And I don't push recovery on them. I make suggestions so that it's their idea because you cannot make somebody recover. They have to want it. You can put your child or your husband, wife, grandma, because my kids put me in treatment, and that was a hard experience because I remember I had went to a detox and my daughter hugged me. Oh, it gives me
Hmm.
chills now, and told me, "Mom, I'm so proud of you." And
Really?
as I'm going in there, I'm thinking, what does she have to be proud of? I'm a heroin addict walking
Mm-hmm.
into a treatment center and she's dropping me off. But
Mm-hmm.
she was proud. It's hard. I understand it now because walking through those doors are like, you got to be a soldier to walk through those doors. You're not weak. It's hard getting off this stuff because you feel physical, mental, and then all these feelings that you've tucked down inside your. I'm sorry,
That's
I'm getting,
okay. It's okay. I
uh,
want you to be comfortable. It's okay.
all these feelings are coming out. The bad thing is, you know, the feelings come out. The good thing is the feelings come out, and it comes out. And so you got to feel all this trauma, but you got to work through the steps to get rid of that trauma. If you don't
Yeah.
do that, you're gonna continue to use.
Hmm.
And so in Narcotics Anonymous, we give back what is so gratefully give to us. Like when I moved, I got this apartment. This is the smallest place I've ever lived, and it looks like a hippie lives here, but it's the
Hmm.
smallest place I ever lived, and it is the most humble, and it gives me serenity, and that I could afford to leave, but I don't want. I have to crawl these ugly stairs up. I don't want to leave because I feel safe, and it's where I get my serenity. And so, but if you don't give, you got to give that back. And it's not even that you're made to; it's because you want to. Because somebody gave it to you. Like people called me, "What do you need for your apartment?" We all want to help. Like I'll buy like the either food or cleaning supplies or the stuff that they don't think about what they need. Or I'll try to find a bed, and we all do that. It's just not me; it's the community, the NA community, and
Yes.
A too. But
Hmm.
I'm NA, so I forget about A sometimes.
Right.
But
That's okay.
but that's just what
Hmm.
we do. I'll tell you what, if this society, this world would act as a recovering addict, the world would be a better place.
I want to
Because
add. Uh-huh. I
oh,
want to add. Go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead. You finish your
No, go
statement.
ahead. Go ahead.
And you talk about recovery, and we talked about Champagne being a recovery community, and how there's so many things that are available for people that want to recover from the drugs and the alcohol and things like that. And the community, as you spoke about the community, how they the NA community, which the people that are participating in this program embraced you and helped you in your process
Yeah.
to back to where you begin, the part in your life where you lost everything. They help you regain those things back, right? Is
Oh,
that what you?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Not even like material things, but I gained myself back the
There you
day that I realized I did not care what people thought about me. The day that I realized that I'm better than I ever had been was the day I found freedom. It was overpowering because a gentleman that I knew that I was attracted to, he he asked, we were on my sidewalk, he says, "You want to go up?" And he said the F word. And I said, "You know what? You're not even good enough for me. No." And I just
Mm,
walked my happy butt up the stairs because, I deserve respect.
right.
I
So
deserve that. And because I'm a better person today, I don't have to settle.
right.
I
So
don't
how did you just want to interject? How did you where did it began that you started to love yourself? Where did that begin?
work in the steps, working my
Working
recovery,
yourself.
working my recovery, and coming to the realization that what people think about me is none of my business. What
Right.
people say about me is none of my business. As
Mhm.
long as I'm doing the next right thing, the only one that, the man upstairs, that's the only one that has the right to judge me. I feel I saw, because when I died, I saw the devil. I feel I sold my soul to the devil, but I'm buying it back slowly. And then not from, that's not something you can buy with money. You know,
Mm.
that's something you buy with inner strength.
Mhm.
And and that's what, my kids, I have 5 years, 4 months, and 3 days clean. And
Mhm.
I just now, like maybe a year and about 2 years ago, was able to drive my granddaughter around, and she's 12, going to be 12, and I won't give that up for nothing.
Mhm. And when you said clean time means you were free from any drugs,
Right.
any addictive behaviors, you know, uh,
Yes.
being around the people, those kind of people that would try,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You're free from the bondage that you were in, the things
Right.
that you were indulging in, the
I do
losing
not
of yourself.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
go around people that mess my energy up. And
Right.
by that I mean like do addictive behaviors or drugs or anything,
You don't
because
indulge in that. Right.
I'm not even gonna say anything against it. It's their life. I don't have no room to talk about any judgment whatsoever. I
Hmm.
do, however, suggest, I just say when you're ready, all you do, and by doing that, making it a suggestion and then leaving it alone, I've gotten people in treatment that I never thought I would have went in. I
You
don't
know,
push.
one thing, I located you as a superhero unveiling of you because there are so many things, there's so many levels to you. People don't even realize what you do. They don't. Because I know, because I hang with you.
Mhm.
I've hung with you, and it's like this lady, I'm telling you, she will run to the ends to find a person that is lost or out there on drugs. That, she carries Narcan, she delivers, and Narcan is it's an injectable serum. It's medication that's used for people that OD or take too much of heroin or any kind of opiate, fentanyl,
Right.
that will cause them to die. She has these syringes full of this stuff, and
Actually, I
she
have the
goes.
nose spray now. They don't even have to mess with this.
Oh, she got nose spray. That's right, because I got some myself. I've had to use it before. So I have some, but I have the needles. I got the injection.
I'll get you the other.
Yeah, but she
But
carries this stuff around. She delivers this to people to make sure nobody dies. Her passion. I mean, she's out there. She's going to other counties, other places, looking for people that don't just toss aside. Oh, they out there on drugs. Them kind of people. Oh, they over such and such house. She goes and look for them, and she talks to them. She goes searching them out. She take her car, her gas, her time, and she reaches out to those people. You know, this is what this is the kind of thing she does. Food, clothes, things like that. She's out there reaching people.
I don't.
Amazing woman. Go
I'm
ahead.
not. For one thing, I don't feel myself as a superhero. I just want. I want people to have the kind of inner peace that I have from not using, and I don't I don't say what I do because it's the only one that needs to know is my higher power, and I'm not even doing it for that. I'm doing it because it's just human. And I'm a caregiver. I'm an empath and I feel it. And I found two people this week that one they thought was missing, but I hunted him down.
I know you did. I saw it.
And I'm happy to say he's in treatment today. And his girlfriend is just did an assessment yesterday. I didn't hear how it went, but and somebody I used with, I just put it out there, and he was so grateful to see me. He thought I was dead because I left. A lot of them think I'm dead because I left, and and he I used to take him in when he got kicked out of his house, and he went to treatment. And those are blessings to me when I make a suggestion. That's all I do is make a suggestion. You don't force it, because you could have put me in treatment all you wanted, but until I got that miracle sitting on that bed, June 16th, 2016, I would have never gotten clean. I would have continued this.
Lisa, I tell you, just to think people call you Mama Lisa. They call you Mama Lisa. There's a reason why they call you that. You deal with people because I've been an addictive. I walk the line of addiction. I know what addictive behaviors is. I know what my behaviors were. I've seen people in addiction, and me being clean, and I see people with addiction. Those kind of people ain't easy to deal with. They're not easy people.
No, I have a look.
So mine ain't right, and you deal, and you know how to talk to them and to bring them to a place where they surrender and go on into treatment. And
you know what the best tool you have, as far as when somebody comes into treatment, when they walk in the door and you give them a hug like they'll never forget. Because I've been told many times, if I hadn't had that hug, I wouldn't have stayed. And I know that. Because it happened to me. So I make sure that, I never judge anybody. And let me tell you, I've heard some horrible stories. And being an empath, I feel those horrible stories. But I've had to learn how to accept it and move on, because I'm a protector. Like, if somebody hurts my family or friend, I'm going after them one way or another. And because that's what I've done all my life. Even in addiction, I did that. So, like, I opened my house to people. I did not. You can either do heroin by injecting it or snorting it, which
Snorting
is
it.
going up your nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a snorter. I couldn't use straws for the longest time. I can now, but I still kept clean needles and everything they needed in my house. I went to the health department, got it, and had the box because if they were going to do it, I wanted them to be healthy. And as far as people do weed and they do
Mm-hmm.
cocaine and they do meth, but fentanyl is in all that. So you really need Narcan. People should really reach out and get some Narcan because, and if you don't have it, I'll bring it to you. I don't care. I don't know that I can go to South Africa. I don't have that kind of money, but I'll ship it over there though. I'd be glad to ship it over there. But but you know, you could walk out of a gas station and see somebody kneeled over. They're dying. When you see them not out like that, they are literally
Yeah.
dying. And that Narcan, you can be anywhere. Gas station. I took Narcan to hotels and the city gas stations and all that. And because p- gas stations are one of the main places people go in and shoot up.
Yeah, in the bathroom.
Bathrooms. Yep.
I know. I know. You
Several
are
people
absolutely right.
I know died in the bathroom.
Yeah.
My own
Man.
nephew, I could not help. He died. I'm from St. Louis area. I live on the Illinois side, but I'm from St. Louis. He died in Barnes Hospital bathroom of a heroin overdose, fentanyl overdose, actually. So even if you think you're doing a simple drug like weed, you make sure you get it legal because you don't know.
Put it
I've
on
had
marijuana.
people, especially if you don't have an opiate addiction, it's gonna take you to
Yeah.
death. Just
Right.
and weed's legal here,
Mm-hmm.
but unless you get
Explain,
like from
explain a little bit what you mean by when you talk about if you don't have a opiate addiction and you smoke that marijuana with that opiate on it and you die. Can you explain what you mean by that so they can get a full understanding?
as
Marijuana smokers.
okay as an opiate user, you build up a tolerance.
There you
Even
go.
like if you're using heroin and you stop for 24 hours, your tolerance isn't that as high. So when
Mm-hmm.
you stop like a month and then go back and use it, they usually use the same amount they're used to, and it takes them out. While this fentanyl, when they're smoking weed, the fentanyl, you have no tolerance to opiates.
Mm-mm.
Most weed people, they do that a lot of times for pain, anxiety, you
Mm-hmm.
know, stuff like that. So, and of course, the dispensaries are so expensive. So they're still
Out
dealers.
on the street.
Yeah, and I had a girl take a hit of weed and died from a opiate overdose because they put fentanyl in it. Because fentanyl's real small, it's not that expensive, and it's a bang for the buck.
Yeah. And just like you, Lisa, I concur with you, everything you're saying. Even, I see the passion because that's
Now,
what I have to
when
save
I talk
lives.
recovery, like my heart pounds and my eyes water.
Yeah, because you have the passion. I know being in jail, I'm telling you, I saw somebody leave out the jail cell, leave, go home and die. In the treatment center, leave out, my roommate left out the treatment center. She died. Someone that was in the treatment center went in the same room with me, but we were all in the same group. She died. Somebody at the meeting that I know, they died. I'm connected to them in the meetings. They died. You just get tired of people dying. Not only is it gun violence, but you got people on drugs dying. They lost their mind, trauma, and these
Okay,
behaviors are
right.
they're acting out, covering that pain. And I see the passion you have. You
You know,
grind out
COVID
there.
COVID took a lot of people out. Well, my sister died Christmas Day
Mm-hmm.
from COVID, and my uncle died 2 weeks later. And so,
That's
but
trauma.
what people don't realize, when there was no outreach
Mm-hmm.
as well as it is with open meetings, because all the meetings were closed, it was all online. Some didn't have computers or internet,
Yeah.
and they didn't have the outreach, the personal connection outreach.
Mm-hmm.
Enough people died from an overdose last year to fill 3 football stadiums, 90,000 people, and that's not including the COVID. So like the overdose jumped up with the COVID because
Mm-hmm.
there was no outreach.
No outreach. And
Yeah,
that's what you're doing. Go ahead, Lisa.
no outreach. So you know, we as addicts, we have to, like, the online things are great, and it worked out. It was good for me because I was working in a treatment center and I got meetings, I held meetings. So I was blessed to work where I was, to be able to get that intimate connection with people.
Right.
But when COVID was there, we need that intimate. We need those hugs. Like, they
You
stopped
do.
hugs. That's one thing I went against the rule. I was safe. I got vaccinated. I
Mm-hmm.
wore my mask and everything, but I still gave hugs because sometimes one simple hug will save somebody's life. It's showing you that you care, you want them there, and you will not judge them. And they need that. They need
Yeah.
it. If they're even when they're coming in from a relapse, you do the same every single time. Because
Right.
eventually, there was a girl that she had been through a couple times, and I stood in her bedroom and we talked out what was actually hurting her. And
Yeah.
I felt her get the miracle that day. She's still
You did.
clean 2 day, 2 year. Oh, she's getting ready to no, she already reached 2 years. And
Really?
just blossoming.
Yeah.
And that's my reward, is seeing them. I had my first group. There are 6 people still clean that when I worked in treatment, and that's my reward. That's
Yeah.
how you do recovery.
Yes.
You embrace it. You
Mhm.
have to be addicted to recovery like you are addicted to that drug. You have to do what it takes to get to recovery, like you did what it takes to get to that drug. If you have to walk, I remember walking miles to go get my drug. So if I had to walk to a meeting, I went to a meeting if it was a
Mm-mm.
mile, because and that's desperation. That's desperation to wanting a good life. And people think they're so far from it when they're in addiction, and they're not. They're not. People ask me, well, it looks so easy for you. It's not. I have to work it. I have to have sponsors.
Yeah, and
You
you
might
work
be
the
on my,
program.
huh? Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, there's a program and a
But
step.
it
It's
almost, you know what I
life
relate,
steps.
relate it to?
Mm.
I had a friend. I don't go to church very often. And I have a friend. I believe
But you're a believer
I'm a
around there.
believer by,
Yeah.
because I feel like I'll see somebody and I'm thinking they just need a hug, and I can't, like, stop myself. I know I got to go give that person a hug. So that's coming from somewhere. So she was real sick, and I said, well, why don't you just stay home? I think God will forgive you. You're sick.
Right.
She was in a lot of pain, and she said, if I miss Sunday at church, my whole week is off. And
Oh,
that's what I relate in A. If I miss a meeting, I'm going to be off. Like, and I know when I'm struggling, I haven't been to enough meetings that week, and I get my bottom to a meeting.
right.
It's almost like going to church.
And it's not a religious program,
No,
right?
not at
Not a religious
all. It's a
program.
spiritual
It's a
program.
spiritual program, and it's really the principles are biblical. They're found in the Bible. It really, I mean, it's a revelation of some of the things that but it's a step towards living your life, and living it
Yeah.
without the use of drugs is
And
what it is.
it's as simple as doing the next right thing. People
Yes.
don't realize that though. It's as simple as just doing the next right thing. You know, easy does it. They say you don't become an addict. It's one of the readings. You don't become an addict in one day. So easy does it. Don't be so hard on yourself, because if you have one foot in the past and one foot in the future, you don't have a leg to stand on today. So you just need to have today.
And let us bring out the fact that in this 12 steps, that there is, like I said, it's not a religious program, and that you can choose who your God is,
Right.
basically. you know
A
you
higher
have a
power of
choice.
your understanding.
Right. You have a choice. You can choose. You want it to be a doorknob, it'll be a doorknob. You make a choice. So I just wanted to bring that out so people can get an understanding of what narcotics and Alcoholic Anonymous, the steps are about.
Because they're scared of that third step. A lot of addicts, because when you're in addiction, you come out really mad at God and don't believe,
Uh,
or some people, like religion was pushed on them so hard
they
that
were.
they went the opposite way,
Yeah.
and so that stumps them a lot and sometimes causes relapse. But when you explain, God could be good orderly direction,
Mm.
or I'm big into music, and like I had a lot of loss. Like 6 people died in a span of about 6 weeks. Some overdoses, some health, and some brutal.
Yeah.
And it was really weighing heavy on me. And I had noticed, I had listened to my music. I have to have it in my ears. I told I told Shanna today I found a new song. It's gonna be okay. But,
Right. You sure did.
and and it speaks through me through my music.
Mhm.
And it's my higher power telling me it's going to give me an answer. And
Yeah.
the biggest thing, I have a higher power box, and the biggest thing is, if I'm like stressing on something, I'll give it to my higher power and forget about it. I'll put a note in my box, give it to him, and forget about it. And it works out. It's every. I don't have a job right now because I was laid off, because the state of Illinois isn't the best. But that's for another story. But I don't have a job, but I'm not worried about it. I have people reaching out to me that want me to work for them, and I'm going to see where it's. But I'm hoping this place that I was working at is going to open back up, because it's detoxing people, and it's a good way to detox, and I believe in it, and I feel it's going to open back up. And if you get them from the very beginning, because I can tell what day they're going to start feeling better, and I'll tell them, you just make it to that fourth day, and you're still going to feel bad, but nothing like you did. And the fifth day, you're over the hump. And because
Yeah.
they said I would withdraw off of heroin for 20 years for the fact that I did it so long. My eyes don't dilate because they're permapin, because they were dilated for 38 years, or they were pinpoint for 38 years. So my
Well,
eyes
they don't
don't dilate.
change.
Uh-uh.
They
Like
don't
if you
change. It's
put
like
light in my eyes, they're still going to stay
they're
pinpoint.
not normal due to
Yeah.
all the drug use.
I
Yeah.
always explain people that because it makes me feel funny.
Uh, I
But
see. I see. Real quick, I see that you're geared towards working in treatment facilities that aid people that have addictions. That's your love. That's the kind of things you like to do. I want to ask you a question, because I know we're getting close to the end. Which of the 12 steps, what steps to you was the most difficult? Because
fourth,
there's 12 steps to this program.
fourth, because
Four.
yeah, you got
What
to.
is four?
Fourth is when you dig into the bad things and like shoplifting. Like I have to do that, dig into that, and then later on and why, when, and how I felt about it, and then on my A step I make the amends. So that's how I'm making my amends, right? You know.
Because just like you're talking about that step, and what comes to me, because I think we all as going through our addiction, going through our recovery process, there's some shame that comes along with the things that we've done. Especially, I'm 51, and you what? How you say?
I'm 60 years old.
And then we have to reach back and think about all this foolish behavior we didn't, we done went out there, stole stuff,
Right.
lying, cheating, you know what I'm saying?
Feeling pills, feeling
Indulging in all these relationships, and it's kind of like, and all this reckless behavior.
right. And we have to dig up that past.
Smoking,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to deal and face with the things that you've done.
Right. Facing the fact. But
right. And forgiving yourself. Go ahead.
Even though it's hard and it brings up stuff you don't want it to bring up, but it's a release.
It's a release.
It's a release.
Release. And
Yeah.
Forgiveness is such a powerful thing. Because we have to move on. You got to move on, from that
Funny
place.
you say that, because I had a resentment against somebody that I felt was responsible for my niece's death. And I got a phone call the other night, and I always was destined to get even with him. Mm-hmm. And then not too long ago, you know what? I said, I'm not carrying this baggage no more. It's too heavy. So I let it go. And
let it go.
My niece, his daughter, called me and wanted to know how to detox somebody from Oxycontin, and it was him. And I really didn't give it a second thought. I told him how to do it, even though if it probably would have been a year ago, I would have not been very nice. But I'm an addict, and I don't want to see I don't care if I like you or not. I don't want to see you suffer, and I'm going to tell you any way I know for you to have an easier detox, because it's hard. It's very hard. And he's been on oxys for 20 years. So it's because all that settles in your bones. So it's got to come out of your bones. That's why they said I will detox for 20 years. My legs don't stay still at night, and that's because of that. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful, because all the damage I did and I did meth, and I did acid, and I did opiates, drank, all the damage I did to my body. My doctor is like amazed. The only level that's off is my vitamin D. And so I'm very grateful. Like my kidneys, my heart, everything. I got a little high blood pressure sometimes, but for being an addict as long as I was grateful that my body, a lot of addicts get Hep C. And so, well, I was never a needle user, but still I dated a needle user. So
you could have acquired it that way.
Right. And
yeah.
I wish they would have never invented, because when I started using is when they started pushing Vicodin, and like they would hand it out like it was a present.
Candy.
Yeah, I would get 120 every 2 weeks.
And like now, I let my doctors know now.
Oh, I do too.
I take a Tylenol. Look, I'm telling you, I don't mess around with nothing like, there, God forbid now, I've had major surgery, but I know it's like, look, I know when that pain is done subsided, I know some people, and you can always, there's other preventions that you feel like you don't trust yourself. You can always allow someone to issue out medication for you. I mean,
my daughter did when I had my knee surgery. She handed one pill at a time, because I had to have
major surgeries.
And she handed me one pill, and then when it was done, it was done. Like I barely took, and before it would talk to me, like she would lay it on my nightstand, and I was waiting for it to say, "I know you want an extra one, Lisa,"
Mhm.
but I
And
didn't.
it's just
I took
preventative,
it. Yeah.
preventative. You're just doing preventative things.
Girl,
Mhm.
my daughter locked it up in her safe with a gun. She was gonna make
Like you ain't
sure
gonna
I
get
wasn't
this.
gonna use nothing.
Right,
Yeah,
because it could be one misstep that could cause a catastrophe in your life. And
right,
you always have to use those preventable, measures. You having surgery and things like that. And that's the one thing those meetings are for. You
right,
you gather information from each other to help each other to not to fall in the same traps that's set up for you by the enemy. For
right.
us to have knowledge and to help us, through those difficult times. I tell people.
One misconception a lot of addicts have that they can never, use something that's a narcotic. You can if it's
You
prescribed by
can't.
the doctor and you're taking it with. I found out I'm very ADHD, and if you had talked to me, and I just took my medicine, so I run off course anyway, but I could hold like 8 conversations in 5 minutes. So the doctor put me on a medicine called Concerta, and it breaks it down throughout the day,
Mhm.
and it's a narcotic, but it gives me the ability to work and function and focus.
Function.
I couldn't even sit and watch a TV show or a movie until last October when I got the medicine. So just because you're going through something, it's okay. What I did, I tell my sponsor what I'm getting on. My daughter knows what I'm getting on, and a close friend that has a key to my house. So at any time, any one of those can ask to count my pills, and I will give them to them because
So
they're
what you do is you don't try to hide anything. You stay
no
open. You stay
right.
open, and that keeps those behaviors at bay. It
Then it
keeps
gives me
the enemy
accountability.
really from trying to take over because you're out of the closet with you. You're in the light. This is what I'm doing. I need your help. Blah blah. You're not doing it behind the scenes, trying to be secretive about it,
Right. Oh,
and that helps a whole
my
lot.
daughter knows everything. She even has a tracker on my phone. If I'm in an area that is kind of because I go to bad areas to head out to work in, she'll call me.
Right.
Mom, why are you
What you doing
there?
over there?
Yeah, yeah, she knows. She came and
Yeah.
got me one time. I didn't even know it was a bad area because the bad area here is a lot different than the bad area in East St. Louis or in St. Louis. It looks nice over there. So
Sound like your kids glad that you are you clean and sober. They see
oh,
their
they are
mom.
grateful
They
every
love
day.
their mom. They love
And
who you
when
are.
my anniversary comes in up, they do something special all the time. They're good to me. I
And what
remember
you
when they for Christmas they got me a TV and a VCR, and they were still in the box. And I'm thinking, oh heck, because I know what I could do with that. I could sell that and make some money.
feeling yeah. But when you
But
say anniversary, when you mentioned anniversary, just a little bit ago, you said that you all celebrate an anniversary. That means your clean time. See,
correct.
everybody in the program, they have what's called anniversaries. It's the
Yeah.
day that you have surrendered your drug. That's the day you start off saying, I'm giving the drug up, I've
Yeah.
surrendered it, and I'm no longer gonna be use that drug anymore. And
I
then from
carry
that
mine.
day,
I carry
every
mine
year,
right here. My
right?
daughter made
Every
me
year, right?
and
Every
it's
year,
a 516 or 51816. I have
five, eight,
two of them.
16. So that's your anniversary date.
I
It's just
have
almost
two of
like a
them.
birth date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's almost like a birth date. And here people responding. Lisa is my earth angel, and I thank God for her support daily. So she has some sponsees. We call you the sponsor. You have sponsees. That's people that
Yeah.
look to you for advice. People that you embrace and help nurture them back as they walk along their recovery process. I'm one of your sponsees.
Can I brag on you a moment?
Huh?
Can I brag on you a moment?
Yeah, go. I guess so.
Uh, Shanna came. I had just started actually. I when I started working at the program that I completed last,
Mhm.
and she was one of my first clients, and she has blossomed. You want to talk about somebody give back? She does all over the world. So
Yeah,
you
we
know
call her now.
my little stuff is nothing compared to her, but you know, and she introduced me to boxing. And I thought, well, this old lady gonna be doing boxing? I love it. I am. We're going tonight. I'm ready. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it, and it get me some exercise because I need it. But and get me outgoing, and so she, you know, you think
Oh.
just because you have you know, you have a sponsor, the sponsors learn from the sponsees daily as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you're there for each other. It's not really just a one-way street.
Mhm.
You even they have a problem, you learn from that problem. You
Yes.
know, it might be something that you're dealing with and you both talk it
Mhm.
out. A meeting is can be between two people talking about recovery. That's saving each
Mhm.
other's life. People don't understand that. They think they have to
Right.
be in a big circle. The best meetings I had was on the tailgate of my truck with two
Really.
people. So, and that was after the
Mhm.
meeting. So it was those are like important too. The fellowship after the
Mhm.
meeting, having a meeting after the meeting, and so that's what it's all about. Just
Mhm.
two people getting together, saving somebody each other's
Yeah.
life.
And what's so good about these meetings, you fellowship with people that have had behaviors just like you. It's not like somebody coming from, and there are people that are hidden out there that have done things that have never decided to surrender, or they're probably doing stuff right now. But
Right,
we come in contact with people that have gone through things just like us, and we share those things, and we're not looked upon like we didn't. They're not judgmental. Nobody's judging anybody because they've done what we all done did the same thing. It's like we're able to open up in these meetings and open up and share deep things that we can't. Some don't feel like they can open up in
right,
church. They can open up in a setting where people are going to receive what they've done and not judge them. So
right.
these are
They
the kind
call
of
it
meetings
vomiting. That you vomit up your,
you
and
share
then
it,
everybody
tell
else
it.
helps clean it up. That's what
You
they
tell it.
call it.
You just unload. And
Yeah,
some people need it's like a therapy session. And when it's released, it goes away from them. They feel like they've let it go and they're able to move on. And these kind of meetings is what happens. Those are the kind of things that happen. And I participate. I go. I haven't been in a few. It's been the last time we went probably about what, 3 weeks ago.
I
But
went
I
by
go.
myself yesterday. By the way,
What'd you say, Lisa?
nobody showed up yesterday.
I
I chair a meeting, and that
Yeah,
means
tell
I
them where
host a
you're meeting.
meeting. I host a meeting once. I chair it because it holds me accountable to go to the meeting. And so right now there's not people showing up. So and it's called Poet on Illinois Street, and it's just there's no like
What
a lot of
church?
time.
What
Um,
church is that in? So everybody would know because this empty. It's a lot of empty seats in there. When we go,
yeah,
it's like you and I sometimes.
I'm not sure that if anybody wants information, I'll email. I I can't West something.
You can give it to me and I'll post it. Give it to me and
Yeah,
I'll post it and make sure because we're connected to
and
people that are in recovery.
it's not it's a there's no drama there. It's just
Mhm.
people wanting to help people, and sometimes you get what you need to hear from the least person you expect or like. If I don't like or I don't agree with a person, I will shut my eyes and I'll listen to them. And sometimes my messages come from those people, so you can't like judge or be not listen to You just don't know when you're going to hear what you need to hear.
Right.
It
You
could
know,
be
it's
that
amazing.
last. It could be that last. Because sometimes people will leave and go smoke a cigarette, but
Mhm.
it could be that last 5 minutes that somebody shares something that's needed to be said, or,
Right.
or that you need to hear. Because you'll get the message, just like when you go to church and you get the message from God, you get the message from other
Mhm.
fellow recovering addicts.
Right, because God can use whomever He chooses, and
Yeah,
I know God used Rosecrans, which is a treatment center. He used the program, in order to shed light. God can use a counselor. He didn't have to always come through the church setting, but He can
right.
use whomever He chooses, and He used that to clear the treatment center cleared my system. Well, jail really did, but the treatment center did a good spiritual cleansing in a way that I was able to see some things the things that I tripped up on that caused the dynamics of things that occurred in my life. And was able to pinpoint as time progressed how things progressively got worse in my life. And I thank God for meeting you in that center. I met you, and like I said, had heard about you, and then we reconnected again. You know,
Correct.
yeah, and
You know, I want to end with this. A lot of
okay,
people
great.
are mad at like the the justice system for making them go to treatment, making them do drug court, making them. But
That's a
also
blessing. Hmm.
equally, they are blessed it all happened because a lot of times when you're like at that bottom pit, they'll pray for something to happen, and a lot of times it's getting arrested, and that saves their life.
Mm,
You know, it's horrible to detox in jail. Trust me.
it
You
is.
know, but
I know it
but
is.
also but also it it literally jail can save your life. Because they don't want to put addicts in jail. They want them to get treatment and they want them to have a better life. Believe it or not, some people don't believe that, but they do. They don't want to put addicts in jail. So if you ask for treatment and you truly want treatment, then you do that because if anybody's in trouble, because I started living my life at the age of 55. I had my 55th birthday in treatment and I started living my life and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to let an age do that to me. I'm not letting anybody. If I just went on a trip and just a little trip, just get away, not even planned. I do what I want now. And this first time in my life, I'm able to do that.
Yeah. So we got just, I want to read this before we end. It says, thank you to all the sponsors for the parents of addicted children. We want and need someone who cares and will listen to our children. You are more important than anything in the addict's life. So thank you, Sherry Carter Bain. We appreciate you.
If there's
We're
anybody that has any
yeah,
struggles, I'm on Facebook. Reach out. I
Lisa
will.
Strong.
I will do what it takes to either get them in
Mhm.
treatment or just talk to them, or,
Right.
or whatever it takes. Or if you need Narcan, let me know. I'll go
We're
get
both
more.
available. Yeah, we're both.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that information. I'm gonna get your information. I'm gonna post it on my side so people know how to get in contact with you. And I'm
Mhm.
gonna have Darren Preston on. We're gonna have. I want to. But this is to shed light not only on this superhero, which she doesn't think she is, but she is. This superhero lady that runs after people like Wonder Woman flying in the air. She's coming after you, boy, with everything she got. There's more to her. I'm telling you, it's more to Lisa Strom than boxing and all. This lady is gifted. But yeah. So I want to post her information. I want to draw not only awareness to her, but in turn draw awareness to people that are under addictions that need to know that help is out there for you. The 12-step program, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholic Anonymous, going into Rosecrans, getting some treatment. Like you
Any
said, the
any
biggest
treatment
step,
center.
right?
It,
And yeah, go
any,
ahead. What you gonna say?
I said any treatment center.
Any treatment center.
when I
Right.
when I talk about like Narcan and stuff on my Facebook, I always say if you're using buddy up and have Narcan. If you're ready, reach out. And I honestly mean that. So
Right.
please do so.
That's good. The biggest step is to so to realize that you have a problem. That's the biggest step. Realize you have a problem and walking through the doors of the treatment center, going in for treatment, and not only going in, but staying in.
Right.
Staying there. But we're gonna. I got another superhero. I'm gonna bring on. I think he's coming on Thursday or Friday. He'll be on Friday. Mr. Darren Preston. I'm gonna have him on.
He has
Um,
good recovery too. Yeah.
right. He's gonna shed some light on some things and some issues. So I'm excited about having him on too. I tell you, there's a purpose and there's a reason why these programs are going forward. God wants to try to touch somebody. He wants to change somebody's life. And he's using people like them to reach out and to grab hold and to shake them and to go out after them. He uses people. God uses people, and he's using Lisa Strom to go out and reach after these people. And thank you, Lisa, for thank you for accepting the invite to come on. We gonna hook up this evening. We
All
got
right.
going on. So we're at
It's 5:30, right?
right 5:30. So
Okay.
y'all gonna see. I'm gonna post my picture with my. We work out hard and heavy.
Yeah.
So Lisa, I'm gonna pull you off
Okay.
backstage. I'll be right with you. So thank you all for joining. And you can always share it so that other people can get the message concerning what she's gone through and the process and what she's done and things like that. So share the broadcast if you wouldn't mind to help somebody because this is to help someone. All right. And thank you for joining me on Real Talk. And like I said, Mr. Dan Preston will be on Friday and you're going to hear his story and we're going to talk a little bit, dialogue a little bit about his life and the things he's gone through and the reason why he's a superhero also. Okay. Have a wonderful day.